All right, Richard, welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Goodfellas, where we talk about the top 15 tight ends for Week 7. But before we get started, we'd like to kind of review how we did for Week 6. So you want to add?
Yeah, in Week 6, we had 7 of 15 right. Again, tight ends, very difficult to nail down. But we expect to do a lot better this week.
All right, well, let's get started for the top 15 tight ends for Week 7. The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom. Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Okay, at number 1, we have George Kittle at New England. San Francisco, especially Garoppolo, likes to lean on Kittle, and it looks like he's back. He's healthy. I think Kittle's going to have another big game. He's been very consistent. At number 2, we have Travis Kelce at Denver. Travis Kelce has been the best fantasy tight end this year, as he was last year. It looks like that offense has found more balance, and they're running a lot more, leaning on that run a lot more. That's why I have Kelce at number 2 this week. At number 3, Hunter Henry, who's got a great matchup, home against Jacksonville. Ryan, is Henry the most underrated tight end in fantasy?
We would say so. He's 5th among tight ends with 268 receiving yards. He has a good young QB that a lot of times defenses just don't know how to match him up because they don't know his tendencies just yet, which kind of bodes well for that offense. But he only has 1 TD so far this season. We should expect that to be a little bit more as that quarterback kind of just blossoms and tries to start throwing the ball around to everybody. So far, he's kind of underrated. I see that you raised him up their rankings this week too.
Yeah, the matchup helps, but Hunter Henry is not really a household name. He is a good, consistent player. And number 4 is the rising star, right? The guy that's in a good position in Green Bay on a good offense is Robert Tonyan, who is playing Houston this week, and what we expect to be a shootout.
This week's shootout.
So we have him at number 4. At number 5, TJ Hockenson at Atlanta. Here's a guy, tremendous athlete, could take the ball all the way, can have some long receptions. Stafford hasn't been passing as much. This week they had good games from Swift and Peterson, but I like Hockenson, and especially against that Atlanta defense. And number 6, we have Darren Waller, home against Tampa Bay. Tough matchup, but Darren Waller is, he plays like a receiver. He's a great player. And number 7, we have Jonnu Smith, home against Pittsburgh. We see how much Tannehill is relying on his tight ends, and Jonnu Smith has been great. But if Jonnu Smith doesn't play, we're going to put Anthony Ferkser in the same position. So number 7 is either Jonnu Smith or Anthony Ferkser, depending on whether Jonnu Smith plays. And number 8, Darren Fells. We've been missing the ball on him. He has been in the top 15 now on consecutive weeks. So this week we're putting him at number 8. He's got a great matchup home against Green Bay, and Deshaun Watson's looking for him. And number 9, Noah Fant. We hope he's healthy. He was expected to miss more games, but he's expected to return home against Kansas City. We like Noah Fant at number 9. And number 10, Hayden Hurst, home against Detroit. Good matchup. Julio Jones opens up that offense more. Matt Ryan looked more comfortable last week. So Hayden Hurst, we can definitely expect him to do some damage. At 11, Rob Gronkowski at Las Vegas. I was tempted to raise him even more, but for now, we'll keep him at 11. But can he be a top 10 tight end again, Ryan?
He's trending that way. He's picking up speed, running his routes, and getting some yards after the catch. He had 78 yards and a TD in Week 6. He had 14 targets in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, Tom Brady's trying to give him the ball, so Brady's always looking for him. So I expect him to kind of keep doing well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Gronkowski is the guy. I know you might be referring to Cameron Brate, but I think Gronk is the guy there. And number 12, we have Jared Cook, home against Carolina. At number 13, Eric Ebron at Tennessee. Eric Ebron put up 2 points, I believe, this week. Big Ben is there, and against Tennessee, I think the Steelers are going to put up some points, and Ebron, I think, is going to do better than just 2 points. At number 14, Jimmy Graham against the LA Rams. That's a good pass defense, but Jimmy Graham is good in the red zone. Chicago Bears offense hasn't been good, but when they do get in close, they look for Jimmy Graham. So that's why we're keeping him in our top 15. And at number 15, Austin Hooper at Cincinnati. Good matchup, and Baker Mayfield's been looking for him. Baker Mayfield isn't that great, but he's looking for him. So Austin Hooper is one of those guys we debated and placed at 15. The guy that's not in our top 15 that was almost there is Evan Engram. I love Evan Engram, but I hate Daniel Jones.
All right, well, let's not get heated here. Tight ends is always difficult. It's about touchdowns. It's about running those seams, getting some big yards, so it can change a lot. So we always appreciate you coming on here and sharing. So good luck this week in your fantasy football.
Thank you. And I hope everyone does well this week. Everybody that listens to us.
See you next week.